Get some, ghost plane shit. Set invincible, unlimited weapons. I don't know.
I mean, we did have that last time.
Except it was blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
a cool like Halloween game type.
Oh, jeez.
so Wraith, from the opening picture, were you expecting the Mud Hen to be out by now?
No, but I was hopeful, kind of. Not expecting, but I was prepared to throw it in if it did come out.
Gotcha.
Mistake number one.
This is
2
more an
weeks.
ode to the
Yep, 2 weeks.
famous picture from Iraqi freedom.
Aha.
I think we have everyone here, right? We're waiting on anyone else?
Uh,
8, 12, 1, 2, 3.
I
I
don't
know
see
Dart
Brad.
said that he might be late.
Yeah. Dart may or may not make it.
Yeah.
Brad, I
Well,
don't see
if he
here.
shows up, I've already ran him through the mission a couple times, so getting it cleared, so he should know. Anyways, welcome to Operation Syrian Freedom. Thank you guys for participating. This is my first campaign, so I'm glad to have everyone here. So real quick, mods, Red 4 Phoenix are the only ones you need. And then pilot skills, which I hope we're all good with. Aerial refueling for daytime, case 1 departure recovery, and then time on target. A little campaign overview. The way I designed this was kind of to try and incentivize the success of missions on a larger scale. Even though we've got 12 people with us tonight, we're all in one package. So it's kind of an emphasis on coordination and on a larger scale than we're sometimes used to. So for this mission and this campaign in general, I've kind of designed the environment to be a little bit more reactful to certain things going on throughout the campaign and throughout the mission. So almost everything that we're striking tonight and in the future will have either a direct effect on the mission at hand or it will affect the subsequent mission. So, for example, EWR sites, much like in an INAZ or Skynet script, will kind of have the SAM start off in a off setting, basically. And then as you get within range, depending on where you are, they might open up and start firing at you. You can also expect them to react sometimes to harm shots for the more advanced SAMs, so SA5, SA10, SA11. They might shut down if an EWR site close to them sees a harm. Communication lines, power plants, and infrastructure is all going to affect the mission. We have a target tonight, which is the communication line, which will have a direct impact live in the mission. So, as well as the EWR sites. So just something to keep in mind. Like I said, we'll all be in the same package tonight. We'll have an OCA flight doing counter air to give us some air superiority, a seed package, and a strike flight and a seed flight. And this is kind of to emphasize communication and cooperation. So the situation, I'll just kind of skim through this real quick. If you haven't read it, it's basically set in the Syrian civil war in 2002. And recent months have seen rising chaos and violence towards resisting Syrian civilians, as well as the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are a collection of coalition-backed political leaders and armed forces which currently occupy the north part of Syria, with the goal of returning Syrian rule to democracy and peace. On the 18th of August 2002, 4 days ago, the southern Syrian forces used chemical weapons on a collection of protesting Syrian civilians in Damascus, prompting the United States to intervene. The SSF has received recent support from both Russia and Iran in the form of munitions, vehicles, and most notably air defenses. While many of their systems are outdated, the SSF forces have received training from their Russian and Iranian allies, as well as the equipment to integrate an interconnected SAM network fortified with Russian EWRs, SAM sites, and reinforced and redundant communication systems. These systems integrate a combination of older Syrian SAMs with some modern SHORAD and AAA capabilities. Intel also indicates the movement of newer SAM systems from Iran to Syria. The Syrian Air Force, largely stationed in the southern provinces, has also fallen under control of the SSF. These threats mainly include older Soviet-era jets, including MiG-21s and MiG-23s, and a smaller number of strike aircraft. The SSF has proven their ability to use these assets successfully. So our mission start time is 0600, which is 0300 Zulu, 22nd of August 2002. To our mission, our time on target is 0710, or an hour and 10 minutes after the mission starts. Altimeter 299.2, winds pretty mild, high scattered clouds, cloud base 8,000. I've done testing; it shouldn't be a problem for strikers. It's very limited cloud cover. I hope it stays that way. And the sunrise is 0605, so the sun is already up. So case 1 departure, and it'll be a daytime operation. Here we've got an overview of the conflict as it stands. If you want to dive more into this with your package and kind of look at the threats that are at each location, you're more than welcome to. But our objectives for mission 1 are at Tyus and Palmyra. In order of importance, we need to disable the frontline SAMs, achieve air superiority, and then destroy the targets, which are EWR and communications towers at both of these areas. Here we've got an ELINT update. So this is all of the SAMs that we know of, and then some that either their operability or their source is unknown. So that you can see the SA2 and SA3 at Tyus and Palmyra. There's an SA5 at Saqual, which is within the range, especially if you push too far south of the targets. So something to keep in mind. And there have been sightings of mobile SAMs up near the front line. So just keep that in mind as well.
He put Pamela's in.
What was that?
None, I'm good.
All right, so package composition. Tonight we've got, it looks like 1 flight of Vipers, which will be taking Ghost. I think we'll split 2-3 Mustang Charger. You guys have got the same waypoints and the same tasking, so however you guys want to divvy that up, you guys can fly in together. And then Lance will be providing Oka. So we've got an overview of the targets at Palmyra and Tyus here. There's an EWR at Palmyra, a comms tower at Palmyra, and then the 2 main targets at Tyus are the runway and the storage facility, which we will, there's a picture of later. And as mentioned before, we've got an SA3 at Palmyra and an SA2 at Tyus. And then we've got a waypoint overview there, which you guys can review with your flight. Waypoints 1, 2, and 3 are the same across the package, so that you guys can reference that. I need to double check. Waypoint 1 might be this. I'll double check this. It's either waypoint 1 or 7 that's Inserlic for the Vipers. So let's take a look at the mission flow for tonight. Like I mentioned, this is a coordinated package, time on target strike. So I've gone through and planned some things, and Toby, who's our package leader, has kind of gone through this as well. So any changes that need to take place to get everyone there at the right time, it's kind of up to him. So everyone basically will depart from their location. Vipers are Inserlic, and then we've got the carrier guys out in the Mediterranean, just off the coast of Syria, in between Cyprus and Syria. You'll refuel, and then you'll regroup at Juno or Fraser. The seed Oka elements will be at Fraser, and the strike element will be at Juno. And at that point, you will switch to your strike frequency whenever you need to push for time on target. And yeah, it's 100 miles exactly from both Juno and Fraser to the target, so I wanted to make it kind of easy to calculate that. I kind of allotted in my plan about 15 to 20 minutes to travel that, which should be plenty. And then you have about an hour until you actually need to push. So hopefully there's enough time. Like I said, if things need to get pushed back 5 minutes, or if everyone's there and you guys can expedite that, then we can do that. We've got a short window, about 15 minutes for seed guys and 10 minutes for the strike element, which will be pushing 5 minutes after seed and Oka pushes. And we've got a timeline of this that I'll show. It's a little bit easier to read. There's no assigned altitudes for this unless you want to assign one for your flight. But I would recommend staying above 15,000 feet just because there is AAA. And there is some show rad and stuff. So just something to keep in mind.
Could you repeat that about S-fragged altitude?
I have not fragged any altitude, but if you guys decide within your flight that you need something or you want to assign an altitude, then you guys are more than welcome to.
What happens if we break the hard deck?
Nothing.
Okay.
You get shot, bruh.
You
Yeah.
just expose yourself like a dude in a trench
Yeah,
coat.
there's no sneaky stuff. This is a fairly simple mission in terms of the mission side of things. The coordination is probably going to be the most difficult part. So there's no, there's not a trillion SAM sites in AAA there. It should be pretty manageable. So, and 15,000 foot hard deck is kind of what I figured to be kind of realistic. So.
Yeah, I was just curious because if I got to evade a SAM and if I have a hard deck of 15,000, I'm not supposed to go below it. So I just wanted to make
there's
sure.
no limitations on nothing. You can carry whatever you want. You can fly whatever you want. You can. There's no limitation on altitude or anything like that. The one thing that is kind of dependent is the time on target. It is flexible in the idea that if everyone can adapt and postpone or expedite, then you're more than welcome. But it does act kind of like a window. So as soon as that time on target is activated, it'll get increasingly more difficult. So the idea is you don't want your seed and your Oka to push in and then there be 10 to 15 minutes of time between that and when the strikers get there. So we want this to kind of be coordinated.
So to clarify, the TOT is essentially dynamic, and as soon as you do something that triggers kind of the reaction, then it's cooking and you need to get it done.
Yep.
Is that about right? Okay.
Yep. So I initially had it so that it was like there was a hard time on target, and if you weren't there, then it would punish you. But I decided to scrap that idea and just go with a kind of a more flexible time on target, just because we haven't done something like this in a while. I wanted to kind of make it a little bit easier and dynamic in that sense. But I do think, if possible, it's good to stick to this plan with the time on target of 0710. I will let you guys look over this with your flights. But as mentioned before, you've got about an hour of time until you need to push. So, and the seed and Oka elements will push 5 minutes before the strike. So at 06:55. And then at 07:25, everyone should be either doing their last run-ins or returning to base. As far as radios go, we're doing standard comms, and I've got a slide later about that. But we do have 2 tactical frequencies, both of which have AWACSs on them. But basically to separate comms and give as much, clarity as possible, until you push for your time on target from either Juno or Fraser, you'll be on 251. So 251 will be like your ops frequency. Any questions or anything that needs to go like that, you'll be monitoring. Once you push and your flight is pushing out of Juno or Fraser, you'll switch to strike. And then just maintain good comms on that. Order of priority with what to talk about. Keep it simple, keep it short, and only say what matters. And then after egress, you can switch back to 251. So as far as mission intel goes, at Palmyra, here's that SA-3. It's located on the north side of the runway. It is emplaced, so that is something to keep in mind. They are kind of protected, at least the launchers are. And then we've got AAA and SA-9 potentially. I did not put a lot of, IR stuff because it's a little bit ridiculous sometimes. But there is the possibility that there's stuff there or at Tice. So just keep that in mind. Keep your eyeballs out, all that good stuff. So once again at Palmyra, we've got the EWR and the comms tower. The comms tower is located to the west of the airfield in an outskirt in the city. It's very obvious. You have a waypoint directly on it. And the EWR is located on the south side of the runway. And you also have a waypoint directly on that as well. Switching over to Tias, we've got a SA-2 site also in place at the north side of the runway. A little bit more longer range than an SA-3, so just keep that in mind. The storage facility also on the north side of the runway. There's no particular building you have to hit. Just this kind of square of buildings is priority, even these targets up there. If you've got extra bombs, you can lob them on there. And then if you guys have more, feel free to dump them on the runway, because that would potentially limit the ability for fighters to take off from Tias or Palmyra in the future missions. So it's kind of up to flights who you want to send where, and kind of which plane you want striking what target. We've got 5 Hornets, so it should be enough for those targets. So radios, like I said, standard 40th. Inner flights are the same. ATC is the same. We've got 2 carriers, so the Tomcats will be on the Abraham Lincoln, which is 249 or 5, and the Hornets will be on 249, which is the Teddy Roosevelt. And then Incirlik will be 250. I do have all the radios preset. So if you switch from preset 1 on your UHF, preset 2, it'll take you to 251, and then to preset 3 will take you to strike, which is 252. If you want to do that. If not, no problem. Tanker support. We've got an MPRS, 135 and a 130. And those are on frag orders. And if we reference the mission flow slide previously, they're on there as well. And you've got waypoints. I don't have a preference on who goes to where, but keep in mind that the Oka flight of Tomcats will have to. They do have an earlier push time, so they get priority on the tanker. And then we've got our tactical and strike, which both have E3s. There are knee boards in the mission. These are the frag orders generated ones. If you want to use them, cool. If not, no problem. I just put them in there because for people like myself in VR, it's kind of nice to have. And you've also got the support assets as well. Okay, so to finish this off, I've got some TTP stuff that I've been working on and kind of taking stuff from the 40th SOPs. So the first one, we've had some difficulty with aerial refueling at night. So I think this will be a great opportunity to kind of practice and refine some things during the day in kind of a low pressure situation. The first slide just depicts that we shouldn't be approaching the tanker within 10 miles from the front. And you want to be slotting in behind the tanker no more than like a 30-degree offset. And then once you're within 5 miles, you want to go trail. Once you're in trail of the tanker, you'll contact the tanker, announce your position, maintain appropriate closure, aspect, and altitude. A note on that, your altitude should match the tanker's altitude in trail. This is so everyone's kind of on the same horizontal plane. Everyone can kind of see each other, and we don't have people flying in from the top or the bottom, and avoiding any close calls. And like I said, you should be in trail within 5 miles. Be mindful of other flights and communicate. Communication is big when we're doing stuff like this, especially if there's multiple flights on the tanker. We're kind of separated out. There's 3 tankers and basically 3 different flights. So it should be pretty low stress, but still a good idea to practice these and try and refine these. So in the future, we've got a good basis and good habits. Once you're at 1 mile in trail of the tanker, you'll move to observation left. You'll reduce your closure. You'll call out you're moving to observation left, and you'll form up along the wing line of the tanker. We've got to be mindful of staying out of the slot, which is basically an imaginary tube that extends for half a mile at the altitude of the tanker and below. So if you're approaching observation left, you really need to be left of that slot. Movement from the observation into the slot. We're usually pretty good about this. Just call it you're coming from observation left and you're slotting. Remember, only 1 plane should be in the slot at a time. 2 can be on the tanker if it's a boom, or sorry, a basket. But 1 person should be, transiting the slot at a time. So we shouldn't have 3 or 4 people in that area. Once you're done refueling, slide back to the right and then take up your point observation right until all of your flight has refueled and you guys are good to push your next waypoint. And I think Hammer had some stuff that he wanted to input, so I'll hand the floor over to him.
Stand by. All right, a minute. Explain the glowing dildos. Explain the glowing dildos.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, Hammer, for going through that. So like I said, I think it's a great opportunity to kind of practice some of that stuff in a less stressful environment than in the middle of night. So just try and keep that in mind. We don't really need to go over this, but I have included some 40th SOPs. And so if you're not familiar with case ones or our 40th VFR landing procedure, these are there for you. Like I said, we do have two carriers this mission, and they are adjacent to each other about 12 miles. So you've got plenty of space, but it is a good idea to keep in mind or keep a good, just fly your BRC for the carrier off until you're 5 to 7 miles out, and then you can start pushing to the tanker or whatever waypoint you guys need to go to, just to make sure you're not kind of cutting across anyone who's launching on the other carrier. I included this slide just because I think it's interesting. It's not necessary. And then goals for this mission. This is something I kind of came up with as I was thinking about what I want to see out of this mission and this campaign as a whole. And for myself as a mission creator, I think if we can get the communication and coordination down with this mission, to me that's a mission success. If we do everything right and for some reason we fail the mission, that's really on me, and that's a mission creation thing. I would be much happier if everyone got back to base after flying, a good time on target, good aerial refueling, but we didn't finish every objective, as opposed to kind of chaos and and still completing the mission. I would rather it be the first. So what does that look like? Accurate time on target, ingress, egress, callouts for the strike and seed guides, avoiding and wasting munitions. So, calling out what you see, what you're going in on. For the Oka guys, communication of the hostile groups to the package if the threats are imminent. And just overall communicating what needs to be done, who needs to do it, who's where. So those kind of things. Second, proper 40th case 1 and airfield ops. Adherence to the air-to-air refueling procedures, and then the fourth important thing to me is that the mission is actually successful. So to me, we do, if we go out and we do everything right and we look good and things are flowing good, that's a great sign. But with that is all I have. So what I think, does anyone have any questions as far as the package stuff goes, or
Yep.
the mission as a whole?
I got questions. All right, so 3 of the 6 questions I got is already answered. So with this time on target, is that starting at Juno or Fraser, or is that actual time at the target area?
That's time at the target area. So really, this slide, if this is the only thing you look at for the whole mission, you could do it pretty successfully. So for strike, because you're in a Mustang, right?
Mustang or Charter, whichever one.
Your Marshall, the time you have to be at Juno or Fraser is kind of flexible, but you'll be pushing at 0700, so exactly 1 hour after the mission starts. So it's probably a good idea to get there a couple minutes early, sort everything out. But you will go from Juno to the targets at 0700. So you'll get there 5 minutes after the seed guys, which gives you 10 minutes at that area to kind of hit your targets. And so, yeah, does that answer your question? Or
Yeah.
basically, go from Juno at 0700 or 400 zero.
Okay. So since the TOT is flexible, what causes that trigger? I'm sure that might be
Toby's the
secret
package
sauce.
lead, and he's got the entire control over this. So the reason I designed it as flexible is because sometimes DCS happens, and someone has to reslot, or things are taking a little bit longer. Or on the other side of things, everything goes well and you're there, everyone's there 15 minutes early. I don't want you guys to just sit around there for 15 minutes if you guys could be pressing and not wasting fuel and time. So the time on target is flexible for that reason, but I think that this, in my testing and in my kind of thinking about it, this kind of timeline is what's going to work the best. It's going to give you the most time, kind of to get sorted, get everything figured out, get everything organized, everyone on the same page.
Okay.
But in the event that something happens or everything's going great, then Toby can choose to kind of push things early
All right.
if everyone's there.
So say if somebody's late to Juno or Fraser, just because of DCS isms, does that trigger already start, or is we're
Nope.
waiting for everybody to be in that
The trigger
vicinity?
the trigger is basically a certain distance from the target.
Okay.
So, yeah, it doesn't start when you get to Juno or Fraser. The everything's triggered into when you're basically crossing this line.
Okay.
So that's a good indication. So don't, especially if you're marshaling. This is another point. Don't push, more than like 30 or 40 miles south of Juno or Fraser, which is waypoint 3, or
Okay.
else you might trigger some stuff. So,
All right.
so yeah. Does that
And
answer your question?
yes. And last question is, uh, for tack and strike, with the switch, is everybody gonna switch to strike, or are there gonna be some people still on tack?
So you'll switch to strike. You'll switch from tactical to strike as soon as your flight pushes from Juno or Fraser.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So tactical. So if and the reason is because people marshaling, you have a 5 minute window between when the seed guys are pushing and when the strike guys are pushing.
Okay.
So there's a potential for a lot of comms to happen and overlap. So this is kind of to prevent that. So everything strike related should be on 252. If you're flowing south, you should be on 252.
Okay.
If
Gotcha.
you're circling around Juno, you should be on 251.
I have one suggestion here.
What's up?
I would suggest that strike push strike frequency 1 minute before their push rather than right at their push, just so that if it needs to be communicated that, hey, Rolex +2, then it can be communicated before they start pushing.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm gonna hop around and answer. I'm sure there's stuff that I missed or questions that certain flights will have, so I'll bounce around and be available for that. But is there anything on a package level that you guys have questions about or
I have one.
concerns? What's up?
I have one regarding the TOT specifically. So I see we've got a TOT of 0710, and we've got these kind of staged out where the OCA pushes at TOT -20 and strike pushes at TOT -15. Um, or no, it's TOT -10 and TOT -15. So um, are these kind of calculated times, or are these more depending upon your speed? You'll have to adjust it to make the TOT, or do we want to simplify it and just push at your time, and we let things work out how they do?
I would say you should probably try and get it as accurate as possible. The
At
reason
which
I have
the time
things
at the target or the time at the push?
the time of target.
Okay.
Um, and the reason is I don't want the strike guys showing up when there's still active SAMs,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a lot of planes in one area.
All right.
Um,
So you want
so
Seed
it doesn't.
Oka to be at the target at 0710 and Strike to be at the target at 0715, if I'm
Yeah.
reading this right. Okay, got it.
Yes. And you can be plus or minus a minute. It's not gonna the mission is not gonna go to shit if you're 35 seconds early or 35 seconds late. It's more to kind of develop that spacing and that room to breathe for the independent flights.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, that's what I had.
Any other questions? Concerns?
I just want to make 2 comments. So if you need to know a specific speed that you want to push at, if you push at 400 knots ground speed, it'll take you 15 minutes to cover 100 nautical. And another thing I would mention is for the strike guys specifically, this is taking place in 2002, so you will have access to JSOWs and other longer range standoff stuff, so I'd recommend you use those rather than overfly. But that's all I have.
Are we waypoints directly on the target you need striked?
Yes, you do.
And they're zeroed out?
Yep, they're zeroed out.
Sweet.
And I've tested all of them. And I've tested the tankers, and everyone has fixed INS. So everything should be okay. And I hope it goes well. So, that being said, I guess we can all break into flights, all bounce around, answer any questions, make sure everything's good. And then we'll meet back here at 7:50 or at 5 minutes before the hour.
All right.
And we'll do a little debrief. So,
Sounds good.
Yep.
I
Also,
do
hopefully
recommend.
everybody remembered to update DCS.
Yes.
See,
I do recommend Mustang and Charger to
I
be
would
in the same
recommend
channel.
that as well.
I'm apparently in here. I gave Wraith the choice between making me GCI or Rio, and he said be a Rio. So
Nice.
All right. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Did you see my message about the nav points?
Oh.
It may or may not work now,
I'll
at
do
least
that right,
before
I'll
they.
do that right
All right.
now.
All right, sounds good. But yeah, I mean, I'm good.
You guys, like I said, MiG-21s and MiG-23s, and they'll be, taken out. There is Tyus and Palmyra do have fighters there, so just be wary of that on your ingress. So I'd recommend you guys push a little bit ahead of, maybe a mile or two ahead of the seed package.
I was thinking we might try something like we did at the op, but is that kind of what you had in mind for us, or did you want something different?
You guys have got freedom to do whatever you guys want. It's not going to be an overwhelming air picture, and things will be kind of staggered out based on the distance from where you guys are. So you guys have freedom to kind of use whatever tactics you guys want. The only thing is I would recommend not pushing too far south. Like we do want a defensive kind of perimeter a little bit, but there is a SA5 at Saqual. So there is some scripting and triggers in there that will develop over time with that. It honestly may or may not be a factor depending on where you guys are, and you do have a seed element that can suppress it, because it will likely shut off if a harm's shot at it. So we do have that capability too if you guys need extra room.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? I wish I was flying on Tomcat tonight, but we need the seed. So
Sigh.
it's all good. All right, if you guys have any questions, you can shoot them in Discord or come talk to me about it.
It was flight lead. All right.
So do you want me as 2 or 3? If it was a well, he's a Rio, but I'm just saying that if it was a 4 ship, then you'd have your choices, me being in 2 or 4. But since it's a 3 ship, I don't know where do you want the guy who's the most rusty? I guess is the question. All right.
I'm all alone. No one here beside me. Uh-huh. All right. All right. So, what are we doing?
And double, are
Mhm.
you going in the lead slot there?
I guess I probably should. Although, we'll see. All right.
So, I was thinking I'd take 422 for the speed.
You're not going to need 6.
It doesn't seem like it, and it might be more of a handicap in case things get spicy and we really want that Fox 1 and we're too close for the mode to kick in.
Now, you taking Charlies or Alphas?
Charlie's. Always Charlie's, man.
He used to be such an Alpha guy.
I was, but that's when the Alpha had the Mark 60, and now the Mark 60 and the Mark 47 pretty much equivalent. I still prefer the Mark 60, but the Charlie has the Mark 60, and it's got a much better seeker. So I prefer the Charlies because they can go pitbull on a lost track, and they are much less likely to to lose track against players. I like the Alpha because you can set target set size small and dick with them, but the Charlie is the better missile now.
All right, 422.
Just make sure you grab the AIM-7 Papas because they are awesome compared to the mics.
Really? I have never used the Papas.
They're
I've always
good.
used mics.
They're good. The Papas are good. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Even if they're defending, unless they go full
Nice.
cold. Yeah, it's pretty good. It does take a full minute and a half to get there. Just bear in mind. Like you'll think, where's my missile? Where's my missile? Damn it, it's trashed. Splash. You're usually around 4 or 5 miles when that happens, so you just either send a Sidewinder or another 7 and schwack. I've had surprising amounts of luck with them, like genuinely surprising amounts of luck. But it's only after you have used the Phoenix to send them into the dirt, and then you kind of kick them down with the Sparrow.
All right, if we're flying V, how do you want to set up grinders and such?
I can grind.
You play sweeper, really?
Yep.
It's not really Fox 3 tactics. Yeah.
Yeah, copy. I can do that.
It's break up the formation, kill what we can, and then if
Grind
we
them
have to pull
down.
out, the sweeper gets the remainder. Also, a lot of potential to just push. Yeah.
Right. I've noticed that they tend to abort as well. Like they catch a missile, they manage to defend it, but then they just fuck off. Not even necessarily fuel. They just abort. It says so in the mission log.
All right, and when we tank, do you want? I'm assuming you want to do 2 baskets.
Do we want to leave a little extra space when we're in observation just because of the recent issues? Spontaneous explosions. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a training point. Yeah. Altitude for Marshall. Okay.
After we do we're going to be available, depending on fuel, to help with any counter air and stuff like that. So we'll be in communication with you guys. And then we've got Bullseye is right between Palmyra and Tyus. So
Do we have a fixed point on Bullseye?
no, I can. Want me to add one?
Yeah, if you eh, it's kind of equidistant between the two, so we could
Yeah, it's
probably
directly in the middle.
divine it. I mean,
I did give you guys the points.
got it.
So they're labeled now. I didn't update the frag orders, but
Yeah, that's fine.
they're
But they're like STIP stuff like that.
yes, yes.
All right,
You
good
put it in
deal.
the little comments thing, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's
Okay,
the only thing that goes in the comments. Nothing else.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're in there.
All right, sounds good. If you have time and you can drop an FP on Al Kavia, that's great. If not, no problem.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll do it
divine
right
it.
now.
It's the Vipers, not the Hornets. So you probably want to go full burn.
And we're doing cats 2 and 3.
Cats 2 and 3. How far behind do you want me? 15? Okay, I can do that. This could be a mutual support situation more than anything. We don't need to use the long bombs or anything. Yeah. Well, I mean, really, though, our PK is highest on the long bombs, but still, if they're not coming at us, it's not going to work. Cool.
All right, I guess I'll switch to VR.
I'll do the same and get some water.
Hey. Anybody here? Yo. What up? Hello? Anybody?
We got a couple people switching to VR right now, KT.
Gotcha. I got a question for you. What is going to be your primary tanker?
Probably the one with baskets.
Well, you got two of them. You've got Tex, which is the 135, and Artco, which is the 130. Because whichever one you guys are hitting, Mustang and Charger will take the opposite as a primary.
I'm assuming one of them is Boom tonight, right?
So you've got Tex, Arc, and Shell. Tex and Arc are going to be the basket.
All right, well, I'll let Flight Lead come back and answer that then.
Gotcha.
Sound check.
Hey, there you are. Are you Flight Lead Vape?
Negative. Hammers.
God damn it.
Why is that bad?
Well, I wanted to speak to somebody about some issues here. And if he ain't around, can't
I
talk about
can
it.
see if I can answer questions.
What tanker are you hitting? Are you hitting Texaco or Arco?
Oh shit, fuck if I know. I don't think we've decided. Got a preference?
I don't give a damn. I just need to know. Since you guys are going to be first off the boat, I need to know
Two different
which one you're.
boats. We're on different boats.
Exactly, but still, you guys are probably going to be up first.
Copy. Good check. KT stopped by asking about which tanker we'd go on, and yeah.
Texaco's MPRS and Arco's 130. All right, so we'll take Arco. Ooh. I mean, you guys can flex between either one, but like I said, your primary will be Texaco, or primary will be Arco.
It is worth noting that someone is writing in right now that Shell is the MPRS and Arco is the 130. According to the
Defuck.
briefing.
Well, I'm looking at the briefing.
Yeah.
Hey,
You've got-
I just fixed the KT.
Okay, so
I didn't change the default 40th comm slide, but Texaco is the boom in the north. Shell is the MPRS with the baskets and drogues, and that's the
damn
one
it.
you'll be on.
Which one's the KC 130?
Yeah.
Arco?
Arco, yes.
So Phil is it still the same 241 for Phil?
Yep, and 41 X-ray. So the radio slide is correct now. That was where the confusion was coming from.
Muscle confusion.
I know, right?
Okay, so I can completely wipe out text from my makeshift knee pad. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so just repeat for me, the dummy. Which one are we going to?
Whichever the Mippers is.
You guys are going to Shell, and we're going to Arco.
Totes.
All right.
Do we need to hop up to somewhere? All right.
Paper, you guys do have a FP on the bullseye now. So
Copy.
who do I need to send the mission file to?
Oh, if you want, I can probably upload it for you.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm gonna have to put the headset down. So, a second. Check audio.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to be doing this in the background. You guys can do your briefing while I'm putting it up.
Can you also set it to pause from the beginning?
It should set to paused. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't realize that the 16 didn't have access to AGM 154Cs.
Oh.
I mean, for seed stuff, that's fine, just because you can use a 154A to just do little light bomblets to saturate the target, but didn't realize that you couldn't do the heavier penetrator for harder targets.
I won.
I ain't even going to ask.
Be right back. Got to take a bio break.
Motherfucker.
What'd you win?
I was here first.
Mic check.
Good check. Although, I had a weird issue here where I'm looking at DCS Instance 1 and I'm not seeing the mission in the DCS server dashboard, even though it's in OwnCloud. So that's mighty confusing. What the hell?
Yeah, I had the same issue until I ran the update earlier today.
Oh shit, so how'd you deal with it?
Once I did the update, everything populated fine.
Oh no, this is in the dashboard for the dedicated server, like the little files browser. It makes no sense whatsoever because it's literally a files browser.
Oh,
Unless not seeing it as a .mis, maybe?
So you got it
I'll send
uploaded, but it's
you,
just not in the list when you browse it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's in DCS Instant 1 missions. It's there as Syrian Freedom 1 V2 updated to .mis. And it's acting wacky. Hang on.
You want to try the one I just sent you?
Eh?
You sent another?
Yeah, you can try that one. It's the same mission, but it just doesn't have the frag orders and e-boards. I don't know. That might be a problem. Well, it might be. Part of the
No,
problem.
that should not be a problem. It might just be the file name, to be honest. Let me just rename this first and see if that helps. I'm incrementing to V3 just to deconflict with anything else. So.
Final.
Final underscore A.
Dude, a quick question. Are Arco and Shell, are they on any type of presets
What do you mean presets?
or channels?
No.
Alright.
The only presets you have are
1, 2,
for
3.
your VHF is your preset 1 is yourself, your preset 2 is your other flight, so Mustang or Charger. And then your UHF 1 is ATC or the carrier, 2 is tactical, 3 is strike.
Roger that.
So you can go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 and be fine. Or straight back to the ATC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Don't have to use the presets, but it's there if you want to.
What's that shit I gotta do?
Hey guys, we might have a potential issue. I don't know if this is normal. Someone who's used the dashboard more than me tell me. The server paused thing is incrementing every 4 seconds rather than every second.
What do you mean?
So it's got a timer that says server paused 0041 colon number. It's not incrementing every second. It's incrementing every 4 seconds.
Yeah, stand by.
I mean, I know Spider's messed with like the coding on that server, so I'm not sure if he just changed something or not.
Spider did this.
It's all because he couldn't come tonight.
I also don't
is on-
see the thing in the file browser still, and I don't understand it.
So I see
like-
mission server.
Uh-huh.
Go with settings. Bench. Zoom on manual. So good. So the mission server appears to be good.
But click on the plus and see if you can see Operation Syrian Freedom 1, V2, or V3 in the list.
I know sometimes it takes. It's called Operation what?
Syrian Freedom.
Do not see it.
But if you look at OwnCloud, it's absolutely there.
Stand by.
Have you tried turning it on and off?
In fact, yes.
Have you tried uploading like one of your files and seeing if it like it populates?
I could give it a shot. Sure. Let's see.
Could ask ChatGPT.
It knows.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, you can write Lua for DCS, which is like surprising for me.
Really? Does it work?
I did a very simple script with it just as a test, and it worked, but it was just like a timer. So I haven't done anything more complex with it. But I was just like, write me a Lua script for digital combat simulator that does blah blah blah, and it was like, okay, here you go. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, what the hell? I'm not seeing instance 1 on the OwnCloud.
All right, so I just added a file, and it didn't say that either. I don't know what's going on here.
Fucking Russians hacking shit.
Alright, let me open up a new instance of this.
Does anybody have Spider's number? You can text him.
No,
Don't kick the
let's not
server.
bother the guy. He's busy.
Let's see, saves.
So instance 3 is the dynamic. I'm gonna upload this thing to instance 3 and see what happens. I mean, I don't know how well it'll perform if we're running on instance 3 rather than instance 1, but you know.
It's worth a shot. If it works, assuming.
I'm not seeing the different instances on OwnCloud. What the hell?
Oh, that's weird. I do see them.
So I go to the home button up here, and I just see a bunch of other folders like logs.
Guys, it's not showing the uploaded thing on instance 3 either now. Either there's something wrong with OwnCloud, but from my end, it doesn't look like there is, or there's something wrong with the link between OwnCloud and the Daddy. I don't know what's going on
Possibly.
here.
Let's see.
The servers were down this morning, like for a while this morning. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
So when you log into OwnCloud Vapor, what folder does it take you to?
At first, I think it took me to the home page, which shows DCS instance 1, instance 3, instance 2, TAC view, instance 4, mods 5, and SRS STTS.
Okay, so mine takes me to missions, and then I go to home page, and I see I don't have any instances unless that got updated.
Fuck. You might be on an older link or something. I don't know, because yeah, when I click home, it takes me to the page that shows me DCS instances 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, TAC view, mods, and SRS like it should. Like nothing looks out of the order on OwnCloud. The only thing that's weird is that things I'm putting on OwnCloud are not propagating to the server dashboard.
Yeah. Send me the link that you've got for. Send me the link that you've got for OwnCloud.
Sure. I actually just went to spide.org and then username DCSDED and password DCSDED.